As I've said before, cyber liability policies are significantly different depending on the agent you work with to buy them and the carrier that provides the coverage. And in some cases, they don't even use the same terminology for the same type of coverage. And one example of this is some policies provide coverage for social engineering fraud, and other policies provide coverage for computer fraud. And they're essentially both the same thing, but because they don't even use the same verbiage, it is imperative that you work with someone who knows the ins and outs of cyber liability policies, because that could significantly impact your experience if you have a claim. And I want to talk about social engineering fraud today because it is a very, very important type of coverage that is being restricted for a lot of buyers. It is actually the second most common claim filed by healthcare organizations today. Social engineering fraud is something that many of you may have experienced. You may not have gotten to a point where you had to file a claim with your carrier, but how many of you have received an email coming from your boss, coming from the CFO or the owner of your practice, asking you to send money somewhere? I would bet a fair amount of you have received an email like that. I've received emails like that from my boss asking me to wire $25,000 to a consultant we hired that I had no idea about. And typically we would at least assume that these sketchy emails are going to be quickly identified and easily identified. But I don't know about you, when my boss emails me, I usually try to get to work on completing his request as quickly as I possibly can. So there are times where, just due to the dynamic or just the goal we have of meeting our responsibilities, we might not always remember to verify that the email is coming from who it claims to be coming from. And a social engineering claim, or at least one of the classic examples of these claims, is you'll get an email from someone in the finance department or someone within your organization that says, we need to wire X amount of dollars over here as quickly as we possibly can. Let me know if you can complete this task. Now, this is almost always an attempt to just get you to voluntarily give money away. And up until recently, that voluntary giving away money to cyber criminals was not covered on cyber liability policies. But because a lot of the cyber liability carriers are very quick to adapt their policies to meet the needs of their clients, they added in this coverage. But they soon came to realize that because it's a claim that can happen so quickly and so easily, they've started reducing the amount of coverage that you have available to you, and they require certain processes and procedures in place for you to even qualify for the coverage to begin with. So it used to be you could get $1 million of funds transfer fraud, social engineering coverage, or computer fraud coverage pretty darn easily. But though that number has come down quickly over these last 3 to 5 years, to where now sometimes we are maxed out at $250,000, or it's significantly more expensive to go to $500,000 or $1 million of coverage for this type of crime. Not only that, but like I said, most carriers are requiring that you have some sort of verification system in place that your employees are all trained on, that says if you receive one of these emails, and even if it's a legitimate email, you know for a fact it's coming from a real person within your organization, you have to have a 2-step verification process to verify it is a legitimate request. And if you don't have a policy like that in place, it's not a very difficult thing to do. We have templates, we have checklists, we can provide trainings to you and your staff to quickly get this policy in place so that you can go out and get the coverage that you need. So if you have any questions about social engineering fraud, whether or not you're covered for it, or if you have the most enhanced and protective policies and procedures in place to prevent these claims from happening to begin with, feel free to give me a call or shoot me a message here on LinkedIn, because I'm always happy to help. Even if you don't end up as one of my clients, I want to put you in a position of being a more empowered buyer, because really there's only good things that can come from that.